And welcome to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show, right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So the original Trilogy Star Wars action figures released thus far by Hot Toys, they are really high within the secondary marketplace and steady. And now you have a handful of them that are starting to trend up and up from that already high price. Is that going to be the case with all of them? We're going to dive into it right now. All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So getting right into it, the original Trilogy Star Wars action figure releases so far by Hot Toys, they have been really high within the secondary marketplace, and they have been for quite some time. Now you're starting to see a handful of them that are starting to trend up from that already high price. So pulling up 6scalecantina.com and going right to the market value chart. Remember, once you go get to the chart, hit that current value column a couple times, that arrow, so you get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures. So let's look at some of these before we dive into it. So you got Han and Chewie, A New Hope. This 2-pack, $900 and steady. Wow, it's been high. This 2-pack was high before The Mandalorian Season 2. So, here's a current auction. Still has a day and 23 hours left, $810. This is highly sought after 2-pack by collectors. The Chewbacca, does definitely seem to be a bit better than a lot better than the Force Awakens one. And here's Han Solo on the screen, and not the best head sculpt for Harrison Ford, but it's not bad. And that's Han Solo, and an iconic look for him, with that outfit. So certainly not a surprise. Both of these figures, by themselves, the Chewbacca and this Han Solo, go for really high. We'll be taking a look at those in a minute. But yeah, $900 and steady. Tarkin and Vader, highlighted on the screen. $815 and steady. This 2-pack has a couple things going for it. I've mentioned it before in prior videos. Number one, Grand Moff Tarkin. Definitely one of the, best head sculpts ever released by Hot Toys. And this Darth Vader is not a straight reissue of the A New Hope version. It has enhancements that make it more movie accurate to A New Hope from the original release. So when you put those two things together, and that's the only way you can get this Darth Vader, it's no wonder that this 2-pack is going for where it is. It's nice, and that Tarkin by itself is starting to really trend high within the secondary marketplace. We'll go ahead and get to that soon. Let's continue to go down. Luke Bespin, DX07 with the Vader head sculpt. Space below that, Luke Bespin without the Vader head sculpt. $650, $600, steady. This figure, I mentioned it in my last video. This was produced a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Hot Toys has come a long way. They have teased this prototype a couple of times already. So hopefully a new Luke Bespin is forthcoming. If it does, because Hot Toys has come such a long way, I believe that these two will take a dive. How much of a dive? I don't know. You'd still get two action figures with this 2-pack, and no matter how good the new one's going to be, this is still going to be a very good set, and because those action figures are actually pretty good. Let's continue to go down, folks. Han Solo, A New Hope, again, $450 and steady. We've already talked about that figure, within the 2-pack. It's a great figure. And, that's going to bring me to, as we're going through these prices, another point as I bring Han back on the screen. So, some of these prices that are steady, or some of them that you're starting to see trend up, like the Emperor and some others, it's not just because Star Wars is hot. It's also because, these figures are iconic. And as you get more collectors that come into, more collectors that come into Hot Toys, you're getting more Star Wars fans, and those fans are becoming new Hot Toys collectors. They're going to want some of these iconic original trilogy figures, and I think that is the other reason why you're seeing the original trilogy figures not only trending up as they are right now, a handful of them, but also why they've been so steady is because the original trilogy, even if you didn't grow up with the original trilogy, there is an appreciation for these characters. Even for those brand new collectors or even very young collectors that, there's an appreciation for these characters. And I think that, remember, without the original trilogy and without these characters, you wouldn't have The Mandalorian. You wouldn't have the prequels. You wouldn't have, the Clone Wars. You wouldn't have Rebels. You wouldn't have any of this great, outstanding, upcoming content that's going to be released on Disney Plus without the original trilogy. So I certainly do think that there is an appreciation for the original trilogy and why those figures are such a staple within the secondary market. So again, you're looking at Han over here by himself, not in the 2-pack, $450 and steady. The third reason now, we have already now just discussed that, okay, Star Wars is hot, number one, and number two, original trilogy, iconic characters. Of course, for the most part, those figures are going to be sought after. Put two and two together, that's the reason why they're trending up. So, naturally, Hot Toys is going to go ahead and just reissue these figures because they want to rake in the dough. Maybe. Let's get into that. So, going ahead and bringing, that Han Solo back onto the screen. You have to wonder, though, is reissuing a New Hope Han Solo, this figure here, whether it's the same head sculptor with a new one, you have to wonder, is it a priority for Hot Toys to reissue this figure? And the reason why you have to ask that is you have so much upcoming content. They haven't even released, first of all, action figures from Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Then you have upcoming Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Then you're going to have the Book of Boba Fett that's coming out. Then you also have all the Clone Wars that they have yet to release. And other original trilogy figures and other Star Wars action figures. So, you have to wonder, is this a priority for Hot Toys right now to reissue a New Hope Luke in this farm boy outfit, whether with the same head sculpt or an improved one? You'll also have to wonder, is it a priority for Hot Toys to reissue this Emperor Palpatine right now? Or how about this Han Solo right now? So remember, Hot Toys is really raking it in with the Mandalorian pre-orders and releases, and they haven't even begun to put out the Season 2 Hot Toys figures that they're going to put out. Look at what's going on with the Clone Wars and the excitement around those pre-orders. And I don't think we've gotten nearly the amount of announcements that Hot Toys is going to have, at least I'm hoping. And then you have all the upcoming content that Disney Plus is going to have, including the Book of Boba Fett, the Obi-Wan series, and so on and so forth. So you have to wonder, is, for instance, reissuing this A New Hope Han Solo a priority for Hot Toys? Especially when they have teased a Bespin Han Solo, at least with the Leia Bespin figures. I know we've been waiting for that. That's been rumored for a while. Or they've released a, Return of the Jedi Endor Luke, a Return of the Jedi Endor Leia. It would be nice if we can get a Return of the Jedi Endor Han. And you already have a segment of collectors that already have this figure. So, is it worth it for them to tie up a production line for this figure right now at this time, with all the upcoming content coming out and all the other Hans that nobody has out, that no collectors have? I mean, none of the collectors have a Hot Toys Bespin Han because they haven't released that figure, or an Endor Han. While as you're going to have some collectors that will jump on a reissue of this with an improved head sculpt, you are going to have some that are going to be like, you know what, I'm still happy with the one I have, and I want to spend more money on Clone Wars figures, or prequels figures, or other original trilogy figures, or Mandalorian figures. So, Hot Toys may be thinking of that. And so I think that that's what you're seeing with some of these action figures here. I don't think we can just assume because Star Wars is hot that Hot Toys is just going to re-release everything right now. Sure, will they in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years? I would venture yes over the next decade, maybe with some of these, but that's a long way off and a long time to wait. So, you could take a look at this A New Hope Luke. This one you may think, hey, Luke is hot right now. The internet broke with the Dark Trooper, even more so with the pictures of Luke in there. Look, there's Luke with the black cloak. They're going to release him. I know that's a priority for Hot Toys. So you would think, wow, how hot Luke is. Let's just reissue a farm boy Luke. It's iconic. Again, you're going to have a lot of collectors that are going to jump on that and say, oh, I can't wait to get the improved one. You're going to get some collectors that are going to be like, hey, I kind of like the one here that I have. I'm fine with the outfit. I'll just buy the head sculpt for $150 on eBay. I won't buy the whole figure. And then you're going to get some that are going to say, hey, you know what? I'm just fine with it. I want to, again, put my money in other Hot Toys figures. For instance, this Snowspeeder Luke, which I cannot wait to get this figure. So we can't just automatically assume that Hot Toys is just going to re-release everything so quickly, or so you have to consider that as well. And I think that let's take a look at this Snowspeeder pilot. This looks like a great figure, but even when the needle didn't move on this figure at all, selling wise, if you sort out the pre-orders on Sideshow, bestseller wise, this isn't even close to where the Clone Wars figures are, the Mandalorian figures are, and some of the other figures are. Don't think that Hot Toys doesn't evaluate that. Well, is it going to be the same case then if we go ahead and redo a Farm Boy Luke? Now, certainly, once this figure here gets close to, they release the production photos and it starts shipping in Hong Kong, you can bet your bottom dollar that these pre-orders are going to go up and up and up. This is Luke Skywalker and a Snowspeeder pilot. People are going to jump all over this. But, the pre-orders aren't exactly gangbusters right now compared to other figures. And you wonder how many they're actually going to produce of these. And then again, as I mentioned in my prior video, if you didn't see it yet, we really get into secondary market pricing tiers and also secondary market hype. This figure will, I believe, very quickly get into that $400 tier range. Not every Hot Toy that goes on waitlist, which is all of them for Star Wars, are going to go right to $400. A vast array of them stay within the $200 tier range, where most of them retail for, and some of them, the majority of them, go into the $300 tier range, mid 300s. Not all of them go to $400, but if you sleep on this one will. This one will. So just kind of pointed that out over there. If you know that you're going to get this snowspeeder pilot Luke, and you've budgeted and allocated for it, go ahead and make sure that you either get it pre-ordered or you order it right away when it gets in stock, because this is one that will jump up in price for sure. So keep that in mind. But getting back to it here, it might not be a priority for Hot Toys to reissue this Luke, even with a new head sculpt at this time, with everything that they've got going on and how certain pre-orders are, performing. So I think that that's something that, we need to also consider as to, the secondary market pricing. So that's going to go ahead and bring me to the final point I want to make about these original trilogy figures, which is, should you buy any of these original trilogy figures for the secondary market prices that they are going for? There's no easy answer for this question. The one thing I can tell you is never buy into hype. Whether it's original trilogy figures or any of the figures that are jumping up in price, or for instance like the Mud Trooper. Some months ago, I pointed that out in the last video, that was going for $425, $450 within the secondary marketplace. And I'm a die-hard Star Wars fan over everything else. And I didn't buy into the hype because I wasn't interested in it when it was on pre-order. And I wasn't interested in it even if someone gave it to me for even $100. I can use that $100 towards something that I really wanted. So while I'm a die-hard Star Wars fan, I didn't buy into the hype of that figure. And I think that is a great figure. I just don't want it because I already had Han Solo from the Solo movie in the more traditional outfit, which is really what I wanted for my collection. So again, that's an example of not buying, into the hype. Now, if it's something that I really wanted, and I wanted it over something else that's in stock. Remember, with some of these action figures, like Grand Moff Tarkin, it's going to cost you $500 to just get Grand Moff Tarkin, $450, or to $500 or maybe more right now on its own. So, is that something that, you want to spend all your money on when you can go get 2 Hot Toys figures for that price? So you have to really weigh that into consideration. First of all, I wouldn't do it for hype. And I think that's way too expensive for an action figure. Then again, there are collectors that come into this late. And, some of these, releases are very coveted. And, if you're coming into it late, or maybe you're just, you never really watched the original trilogy, you're becoming a new Star Wars fan, or, you're really more, you watch the Clone Wars first, or some of the prequels. And, I know a lot of friends that have, watched the prequels way before that they, watched, the original trilogy. So, in that respect, there's going to be some collectors out there, and, my advice is make sure that you really, really would want that in particular figure, and that you certainly have it budgeted and allocated. And, at the end of the day, eventually, some of these, even if it is, years down the road, they will be released in some fashion. Or, for instance, with this Luke, you can either go ahead and spend, $400 for him right now, or you can go ahead and, pre-order this great Luke Snowspeeder pilot for retail, $265. But, I get it. Hey, there's a lot of us out there that want multiple versions of figures, and if it's something that you just really want because you want it, it's your money. You always got to be careful though with secondary market, pricing. Should I, am I going to really take a bath on this? What if they, reissue this Grand Moff Tarkin, for instance? So, You can't really improve on that head sculpt. It's kind of like how they reissued this Darth Vader and this Boba Fett. They went ahead and reissued this Boba Fett and this Darth Vader within the 40th anniversary packaging for Empire Strikes Back. But once this Empire Strikes Back version of Darth Vader hits waitlist, and this Boba Fett is starting to ship now from Sideshow, and this will hit waitlist. These are iconic figures. You got more Hot Toys collectors. More collectors coming into Hot Toys every day. You got more Star Wars fans that are coming. The new fans every day. These figures are going to go right back. These iconic figures between $400 and $500. Certainly, this Grand Moff Tarkin, I believe, would too. But for instance, if you were going to go spend $650 on Bespin Luke, there's a good shot that that's going to be released before 4, 5, 6 years down the road. They've been teasing that for a while, so you may want to reconsider that. But again, if you've got the money allocated for it, it's really what you want. You're not buying into the hype, and you want it more than figures that are in stock. It's just what you want. You just have to consider, what is gonna be my, if I have to get out from under it, am I gonna lose on it, and all that stuff. So definitely check out my last video that I put out where, I talked about Director Krennic and Grand Moff Tarkin and talked about if, Moff Gideon is going to trend the same way. Definitely check that out because we get into a lot of this about market hype and about also, reselling. So remember, I'll end with, don't buy into the hype, but follow the hype so that you're educated on the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys. So that's going to go ahead and bring this episode to a conclusion. I so very much appreciate that you tuned into the episode today. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed the content. And please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So very much appreciate your support. Continue to spread that word around, and to the community, and let them know about the Market Value Chart Show and also 6scalecantina.com and the Market Value Chart. Please go ahead and also follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. I have the links within the video description below. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. See you next time.